I also, I know in the British tradition, he was a magistrate. We call him, I guess it's similar to a justice of the peace. So he performed weddings and religious ceremonies and funerals and what have you. So that was part of what he did. He also became friends with the second, I guess it was, president of Trinidad and Tobago. And wrote the Diwali addresses for and that's Festival of Lights.
Yes.
I did look that up. Now tell me, what exactly is the Festival of Lights?
The Festival of Lights is very much like Christmas. It's called Diwali, and I mean, people go way out, change the curtains and the dishes
like
and the
lights
and
here
gifts
now.
And
yeah.
So yes, it's very, very festive, very much like Christmas.
And the president.
Okay, so President Nur Hassan Ali, actually, he was a lawyer and then a judge. He taught my father in high school. And so then they worked together for a long time, and then when he became president and he wanted the Diwali addresses to be written, he chose him to do it, and he did it for 10 consecutive years.
Oh, that was but they became friends.
Well,
that
because
time.
they've known each other for a long time. Actually, in the book you'd read that the morning my father's funeral, his wife called and it's like, wow, and they knew that unfortunately he was very old and not
couldn't
in best
come
health,
to
so
the
he couldn't
funeral.
come, but just the thought of him calling meant a lot.
So that was very nice. That must have made you feel very good that this important man remembered your father so well and so in such a friendly way. But so he also did other things. I mean, one of the things I noticed about the poetry, and I think that this struck me. Some of the poems struck me. That it was a very spiritual person. Now you can be religious, but not necessarily spiritual, at least in some of our religions. But he was very spiritual, and his poems reflect that. They also reflect his philosophy of life.
Right.
And also, some of his love poems, which are so beautifully written, they're almost intimate in their, because they're written for people he loves, his daughters, his wife. So he's a very multifaceted, you might say, person. Many, many ways, it sounds like he was.
Actually, yes, he did do a lot of volunteer work, raising money, giving gifts. Even though he retired when he was 55, he still worked part-time, 3 days a week, where he gave licenses to,
marriage license,
everything,
that kind of thing,
or restaurants, whatever. And one of the things after he did this was, I would like you to donate something, and it's called the, well, here it's a nursing home, but it's like an old people's rest home, which was run by donations. And that, even if you bring some sheets, you bring some towels, you bring some biscuits or cookies.
So the smallest was as welcome as the biggest,
was
right?
Welcome. And I remember, and so this was for the old people's home, and then there was the children's orphanage that he was very involved in. And the, at his funeral, the woman who owned this place, she says, I don't know what I'm going to do now.
Isn't that nice to be remembered that way? You have a couple of other poems that you selected that are particular favorites of yours, and I know one has to do with not being beholden to, or obligated to people, making them obligated by never saying no to them, and then when you do have to say no, they become very angry.
Well, there are lots of my favorite poems here, but the one, Why Delay, on page 39 is, do your work while you are here, do not postpone for another day. Love the things you hold most dear and make this world more gay. And, I mean, also in the last page, when I ended, I said that why delay? My father's true teachings to me and to everyone around him was that we should try our very best to follow the value of empowerment through education. We should not postpone for another day what we could do today. Whenever he was scheduled to be anywhere, whether it was his office, the Hindu temple, a wedding or funeral, his car was always parked in the correct place at least 10 minutes before the scheduled time. A lesson that has stayed with me every single day.
So you're a very punctual person.
I do the very best I can. But yes, it's very important. You know, I like people to be on time for me, and I should
Well,
be on
I
time
was
for
one of
them.
the worst in the world when I was a young person, and as my friends will well attest, I was always I would be leaving to meet them when I was supposed to be there. You know, that would be. But I've changed. Because I realized at one point that it was a very thoughtless way to behave. But it's much better and much easier to have a well-ordered life.
Yes. And that reminds me, that brings me to, again, how to please. It's very
How to
much
please.
like
I like
that.
that one, too.
You know, it says, love thy neighbor, it is said. How far is it intended? Too much meddling can be read, and parties can get offended.
There you go.
Exactly
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know, so there's another one of my favorites, the rose and the thorn. Make the best of all you can. Be a friend to every man. Do not have anyone at your beck and call, and you will be pleasing to one and all.
Yeah, that's true.
That is,
And there are people, and it's hard. You know, it's hard when you're asked to do something to say yes. Oh, I'll do it, and then you suddenly find you're completely swamped with things to do. But then if you get into that pattern and you do say, oh, I can't do it, then usually, as I think he said, then the hatred begins.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very true. And but not easy to do. And that was his, wasn't that one of his, be friendly but not too close or something?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could be near, but keep a length. Do not be too close and intimate, for familiarity breeds contempt, and it is the beginning of jealousy and hatred.
Yes, yes, that's very
So
wise.
there is a lot
Very
of
wise
teachers
of
here.
him. Yeah. Well, and I know that the book has won a poetry award. So tell me about that. And also, he's had some very good reviews from
Yes,
other.
yes.
Now it's interesting. This is a man who has been dead now since 2002. Is that correct? Yeah. And here he is now, receiving acclaim for works that were written before his death, about which his family knew nothing until after his death. And I believe after your mother's death, you were cleaning out and going through things, and you found this folder, which you had no idea existed.
Right. Yes, actually. So when I published this, actually came out in last April, and then I got a book review the next month, another book review, and another book review, and then when he won the winner's prize for inspirational, that really,
And
it is.
who awarded that?
It's called the
prize?
USA Book News Inspirational Category winner.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't that? You must have
know.
been so
Can you
proud.
imagine
Yeah,
that
you must have
7
been
years
really
after
very
he
proud.
passed
Yeah,
away?
yeah, yeah. Now I know you said that your son designed the cover.
Yes.
Yes, and he is a graduate of Malden High School, is he not?
Malden High School.
Yeah, and is now a
Emerson
graphic
College.
designer, and his name is Joshua Satyam
Milo.
Milo. Yeah, yeah. So he has an Indian middle name, but he's yeah.
Yeah, he did a great job with this
Yeah, it's a
cover.
beautiful cover. It is a beautiful cover. Yeah, yeah.
And my husband, Dr. George Milowe, who practices in Malden, Mass, wrote the back page review, and that's very sweet.
Oh, I thought it was. I thought it was very interesting. Now, how can people get a copy of this book if they'd like to read it?
Actually, well, first of all, you go. It's online.
Yeah. And
Amazon.
do you have an email or a website address?
Yes.
Is that coming up? Oh, there it is.
Oh,
It's
it
up on
is.
the screen now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is what the book looks like. It is, the website is acollectionofpoems.com. The email address is acollectionofpoems@yahoo.com. It's available at every online bookstores, in bookstores.
Amazon.
All the ones.
All
Amazon, Borders, Target.
Oh, so that's great.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
So if people wanted to get a copy of it, they could. Well, let me hold it up one more time. And also, I'd like. Oh, I wrecked the joint here. This is the cover. Can we zoom in on that? Can we come in on that? Oh, it's beautiful cover. That lotus blossom is just lovely, really lovely. And also, I'm going to turn the book over. The back cover has a picture of your father, and I thought maybe if we could get it. It's a small picture, but perhaps we could get it, close it on it. Yeah, he's a very handsome man.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's your dad. Yeah.